Women of Reddit, what do you think would be the worst thing about being a man? The constant pressure in society that the man has to pay for meals, drinks, etc. I feel like it all would add up really quickly. Feeling uncomfortable or shamed for showing your emotions. It's a sad truth. But since the dawn of time, men have been encouraged to live up to the expectations of having to be tough or being a rock for the family. As a woman, I think we feel more comfortable crying and expressing our sadness. Men get sad too. And it's about time they feel free to express it as easily as women do. Having to be the person physically in charge in a threatening situation. Like always being with a man when walking home from a party in a sketchy area at night. Yes, there is safety in numbers, but the dude is expected to be protective regardless of level of awareness. Self-defensive. Or drunkenness. That's a lot of pressure. Oh. You got stuck taking care of the kids today. Huh. Giving mom a day off. Finally? Dads know what I'm talking about. Edit. Well. That blew up. Glad to see I'm not crazy. It's interesting to see the scattered few people say OMG people don't actually talk like that. And then see hundreds of other folks confirm that. Yeah. People do say that shit. People expecting that I could fight. Man. My ex-girlfriend chatting shit to some scary guy on a train who was acting out. And then just turning to me with, "Are you going to let him speak to me like that?" Look on her face when she pissed him off enough. Dude would have FK'd me up if I wasn't so good at being diplomatic. Not being able to take care of children without getting dirty looks. Semicolon. Edit. Holy moly guacamole. Thanks for all the replies and my first silver and stuff. Probably the stigma. I've seen a single father get shouted at for being with his kid when at a park for trying to kidnap children. The dude wanted to make his son happy. Not molest him FFS. I would not be allowed a moment of weakness. Bad day? You can't cry unless your mother just died. At yourself? Suck it up and go to the hospital. Feeling self-conscious about your body? Nobody cares. Feeling ill? Someone has a man see old. Being expected to be more effective at physical labor. Being expected to do more dangerous work. Receiving less empathy when struggling with emotional issues. My wife literally came home one night and told me she was leaving for another man. Took my money and filed for divorce. She also took, and kept, the dog. Was allowed one day off from work to deal with it, our court date. If I even slightly mentioned it, people would go silent. And it's 6 months later and everyone expects me to be completely over it. It's torture. Edit. I really didn't expect this to get so much attention. I broke down and cried last night when I saw how many people messaged me and offered to give me their numbers or to be a shoulder to lean on. Being arrested for defending myself against an abusive partner. No one would bat an eye if you said you were assaulted or harassed. Edit. Thank you for the silvers. Whomever gave it to me. Edit. I see that two people didn't understand what I meant. So to be more specific. If you were a male. And you were a victim of sexual harassment or you were a victim of sexual assault and you went to go tell someone what happened to you. Chances are that you will be ignored because society stereotypes think you're just lying and all males like being touched. Which is horseshit. With all the news articles I see about women being raped, I asked myself, what about the males? Sexual assault doesn't have a gender. It should be taken seriously for both genders. Honestly. Probably people just assuming that you'll do all of the gross shit that no one else wants to do. Fixing up the car, unclogging the toilet, cleaning out the spider webs in the attic, scrubbing the mildew out of the bathtub. Guys are just expected to do it all without complaint because that's the manly thing to do. As a woman, I find it pretty unfair. Alongside that are hiding a boner. People assuming that you can't have mental illnesses disorders. Not being allowed to cry, show emotions, be insecure about your body. All of it is really unfair. I'm sorry guys. Hands down always being the villain. A colleague of mine was a bit on the heavier side, but decided to get into shape and started jogging. So he jogs around his block daily until his smartwatch tells him his quota for the day is full. That day he was a bit late but went for a jog when the sun was setting. Not many people out there. But as he was on his way, some girls saw him jogging their way, got scared and called the cops on him for obviously trying to chase them to pay them or something. Now, the guy didn't know about the call. He just sees two girls seeing him coming, turning around and running away, and he's like, what the FCK? Apostrophe. Until the cops come for him. You know. For the biggest offense in the whole human history. Trying to get fit. I felt really bad for him. Being called creepy if I don't look the best or if I try to get a girl. My sister summed this up perfectly when I asked her if it's creepy for a guy to hit on her at the gym. Semicolon. Depends on how hot he is. Not having your emotions taken seriously. Then lashing out because of it and then seen as violent because you just want to be understood. I had that with abusive parents, but normally people don't treat me that way because I'm a woman. I can't imagine what an entire life of not having your feelings acknowledged in a healthy way feels like. Probably being forced to never. Well. Feel. There are so many people who make fun of guys for having feelings or even showing them. I would never be able to deal with it. And my heart broke the day my boyfriend told me his exes used to verbally abuse him for crying in front of them. Edit. Changed words because I don't want to make a personal generalization. Edit part 2. I didn't think this would blow up so fast. I've taken the afternoon into the evening reading every single one of your guys' replies. And I am genuinely devastated by some of the things I'm reading. Men. I am so sorry. Words kind of fail me right now. Because I don't know what to say to any of you. What I want to say, though, is that you are all incredibly strong human beings. And you are that, a human being. With thoughts, feelings, emotions, and dreams. Your feelings are valid. You all deserve to feel and to be seen, heard, and cared for as a human being. I'd be afraid to be a male teacher. How easy would it be to give a girl student a grade, a failing grade they deserve, or just pissing them off any kind of way? But it's a crazy one who ends up accusing you of something awful? While that's specific, it's a general fair. Just the accusation itself will cost you your career. Being abused in public by a woman and having people laugh instead of intervening to help you. Also the whole to be a man you have to act a certain way. Brutal. I would think it would be being expected to do all the heavy lifting. To me, as a 64-year-old woman, I do my best to move things on my own. If I must ask for help, I make sure my helpers are well compensated with cold tasty beverages and snacks food. Just because you're a male doesn't mean it's your legacy to be a physical workhorse. Having an even harsher reaction when I'd go against gender roles. Semicolon. I mean, as a woman, there's backlash sometimes. But there's a whole movement very publicized that tells me that I can do whatever I want. And FCK the naysayer. Semicolon. I don't feel a man that would want to do something for girls or for women as that much support. Only one orgasm at a time. Emotional unavailability of others. As a woman, I definitely face a lot of hardships that men don't have to deal with. But when I'm at my point of breaking, sobbing and inconsolable, I know I can message one of my friends, usually one of the girls, and cry and bitch to them about it, and they will listen to me and really connect with me. They will tell me how shitty the person who did that is. How difficult it must be to deal with. How strong I am for persevering in the face of adversity. On the other hand, I've spent my life trying to be a non-judgmental source of venting for my male friends, and I've found that basically everyone who I'm like that with ends up either thinking I'm into them romantically, or expressing how grateful they are for something they get so little of. Guys are told to just suck it up and push their emotions down. And I think it is harmful to all of us. Being a father of a daughter or even babysitting. The complete mistrust that people give them is astonishing. If she starts throwing a tantrum in public, people always assume the worst. I would want my daughter to give my husband hugs and love him the same as she would love me in public, but people just view it differently. Semicolon. Edit. Yes. I am in the US. This is not a new concept, nor is it just located here but also in other countries, from other stories down below. This was happening at least 20 years ago when it happened to my dad too. Everyone should love their kids, and we do need strong male role models. I am so happy for all the love that people are throwing around about their kids. Brag away. Even if this judgment does happen, you are a good father and nothing anyone else does will change that. I told a friend I'd happily babysit their 3-year-old daughter, which being a good person they accepted, and a mutual friend of theirs overhearing asked to my face if I was a pervert. Having everyone discredit and treat you poorly if you're not over 5 feet 10. Like you're a 5 feet 5 guy and every girl turns you down cause of your height. I know not every girl is haters, but if every single short guy can tell you a couple stories of being turned down cause of their height, then I mean come on. My brother was allowed to do a lot of things I wasn't. Like explore the train tunnels and go hunting. I once envied that. But now I see it differently. Men aren't protected. From abusive women. From sexual assault. From dangerous jobs. From military service. From having custody of children taken from them. Etc. Most women think there's nothing wrong with being abusive and cruel with men. It's so upsetting watching women treat men like absolute tea. To top it off, men are expected to still act like a gentleman, and also they're not allowed to feel vulnerable. Or to feel sad. Angry because some lady was just a little sassy when in reality she was being abusive piece of shitty. Edit. I'm a woman. Not a heartbroken dude. Thanks for your concern lol. Also, it has come to my attention that I didn't get my point across very well. By most women I mean most women I know. I don't claim to know what most women think. I'm just talking from my experience. I've also been cruel to men. It's just too ingrained in our culture that being mean to men is acceptable. It isn't. We cannot expect to have an equal society if we don't treat men respect, tolerance and kindness. Thinking that you can treat men like shitty just because they're men is sexist. And we shouldn't tolerate it. We are responsible for creating the world we want to live in. Hope I explained myself better. Being considered a possible threat by strangers. Probably. Like. I get it. You never know. But it would probably suck. Either that or the dick and balls. Like. They're just dangling there? Are they in the way? How do you straddle stuff? Will you accidentally squish them? Do you have to like tuck them into your underwear? The dick and balls. Like. They're just dangling there? It's what they do most of the time. Are they in the way? Usually not. Normally we don't put too much thought into them. How do you straddle stuff? Not a problem. They hang off the front and tend to get pushed forward when we straddle. Will you accidentally squish them? It happens and it sucks. It happens most often when I am in sleeping shorts, boxers really. The balls will dangle down and it is a little uncomfortable until I adjust them. Do you have to like tuck them into your underwear? It is why I prefer briefs over boxers. Briefs give a little support and structure for the package. All in all, I am pretty happy with the design. Harsher prison sentences conditions. The constant insecurity of whether you're man enough. This is probably the most interesting women of Reddit post I've seen yet. You know, as a woman I've been thinking about this a lot lately. For a while I thought life had to be better as a man. I don't know. I think it's all the stuff in the news about abortions and etc. Women just seem to have the short end of the stick and about everything. Then my so said something to me. This happened yesterday. Right after sex lol. He goes your org SMS must be so much better. I never screamed like that and your whole body shakes. For us it's just like PFFFT. Done. So I realized I'll gladly keep my periods if I get to also keep my orgasms. Make sure you aren't only comparing your life to the most successful of men. The life of an average or below average man is very different. If you switched, you'd much more likely be one of them. Women, I can assure you the dick and balls is far less annoying than you think. Not being able to show emotions as much. I'm a very emotional person. I wouldn't even be able to handle it. Let men cry. Let men be outwardly excited about things. Let men have emotional freedom. What I mean by emotional freedom is to express emotions in a way that is comfortable to you. There isn't a correct way to express emotions. But there is an incorrect way. Don't bottle up your feelings. And don't let people make you feel bad for being emotional. The fear of looking like a bitch. I could never watch another Disney movie. I'd have to kill my own spiders. I'd have to be prepared for hand-to-hand combat if someone insulted my truck, mom, or penis at all times. I'd have to be prepared for hand-to-hand combat if someone insulted my truck, mom, or penis at all times. As a guy, this stereotype has never made any sense to me. If I had to throw down every time some asshole said something stupid, there would be no end to it. Ain't nobody got time for that. I can't imagine what it must feel like to automatically be considered a potential danger by a woman if you are alone with her in a regular place like a parking garage or something. Then again, being on the other side of that is much worse. You know, it's really nice seeing all these women actually seeing what guys have to go through. No disrespect to women in any way. But sometimes society looks over men's problems and tells them to man up or stop being a PSSY. Well, let me tell you. A PSSY isn't going to put a gun in his mouth and pull the trigger. Having a higher suicide rate but depression and other mental illnesses being pretty taboo. As many have pointed out, women attempt suicide more often, but I feel the point still stands. 2. I now know that women attempt suicide more because they are less successful. Thank you for the insight. Trans woman here. I guess I have a unique perspective because I've lived life on both sides of the coin in many ways. Things that suck about being a guy. You are always expected to be the initiator pursuer. You are not permitted by society to be expressive in your appearance. There's an extreme woman favoring asymmetry in dating apps. Which, like it or not, is how many young couples meet nowadays. Compliments are few and far between. Nobody gives a shit how you feel. Nor do they want to hear about it. If you do not have a requisite level financial success, you are worthless. Nobody wants to be affectionate with you unless you're dating them. And even then, your needs for physical affection are misconstrued for needs for sex. Obviously these aren't all universally true. But for the overwhelming majority of guys, they are. In many ways. Being a girl is like playing all of the social aspect of life on easy mode. Obviously there are clear downsides to being a girl as well. Awkward boners in my teens and then squishy willy syndrome as I get older and ED becomes a real threat. So much revolves around the peen. I would be very insecure about it. As a girl, if you don't like your tits or ass, you can easily fake bigger ones. Guys don't get that option. Also, not being able to hide behind 3 inches of makeup as some girls like to do. Or I should say as teenage me like to do. Lol. Guys don't get that option. Doctors don't want you to know this insane trick. The cultural norm that men don't have feelings, or shouldn't cry. Nobody cares about men. Women seem to think having balls is a debilitating condition but forget important things like the draft and not having rights to your own children. Being called a sexist. Having to be the man no matter what. Paying for dates. Pressure of being the breadwinner. Having to be strong and show no weakness. Pressure of being good in sports. Peeing. Getting hit in the balls. Not being able to be alone with kids. Not being allowed to have feminine hobbies. Baking. Sewing. etc. Not being able to compliment male friends without being called gay. Semicolon. Guys. I feel like guys anyways get the short stick when it comes to jobs, emotions and expectations. Fun fact. Whenever one of my sisters or mom is about to ask me for help with something, I'll think bet it's for moving something heavy. I win that bet 9 times out of 10. And I'm probably the weakest guy in my family. For my mom, it makes sense because she has a bad back. For my sisters, it doesn't. They're either perfectly strong or have a husband who could do it instead. It's honestly infuriating. The ball sack. Being oblivious to women's hinting that they wanna bang. It's not always full oblivion. Guys can get the signs. Problem is when the guys advance on them, the women will still act like they're pigs. Maybe the signs weren't deliberate. Maybe she's trying to play a game. But without absolute certainty, a guy has a lot more to lose taking that chance than gain. It's 2019. We can't take hints anymore. We need to make sure we have consent more than ever, so just tell us you want to get slain by the pork sword and we will happily take it out of its sheath. Nah. That's on y'all. Just say it.